Today was day 2 in the ASAP Rocky trial. Let's go over what happened. They did start the day out going over some motions that they had, and the main motion was that they did not want the attorneys talking to the press, and then the defense did not want the state to be speaking to anybody on their side, meaning family members, witnesses, things of that sort. They do state that the prosecutor, Lewin, had spoke to Rocky's mom and kind of was like, you know, oh, well, he should have took the plea deal, blah, blah, blah. And he stated that he pretty much was just talking to her as a parent to another parent, and that's it. But the judge said, hey, they did let you know they don't want you talking to them, so don't talk to them going forward. And then the first witness back on the stand today was Sergeant Thomas. He was on the stand last week. So they just finished up with him and did their redirect, and then that was it for him. The second witness on the stand had a long name, Leah Elizabeth Martin-Brown. I believe that's her name. And she was a witness that just called 911 because she heard everything. She said she was up on the 7th floor. And she heard the initial incident, and then once they went kind of in the garage area, she couldn't see anything. She was able to still kind of hear a few things. She said she did hear the weapon go off, and that's why she called 911, because she said, I heard it, I didn't want to get involved, but I just wanted to make sure that if somebody did get injured, that somebody was at least coming for them. She did say she does live in California. She said she did hit her little joint, and she didn't want the police to be all up in her face, even though it's legal there. But she just said, I didn't want to be involved. I just called just in case somebody was hurt. That's as far as I really wanted to be involved. So all y'all doing with this on me on the stand, I was not a fan. I didn't want to be here for that. Y'all doing too much. She was not having it. She was ready to go because she never wanted to be there. But since she did call 911, they did have the right to call her. So she was up there pretty quick. They just went over what she heard, what she saw, where she was at, you know, kind of point to pictures and things like that, and then she was done for the day.
Hold the pedal back.
Let's not throw stones.
Well, I know, but they started. So I'm going to respond.
This is a no squabbling zone.
Oh, after he swallows. Well, I'm swallowing back.
Well, you're a good squabbler. You're doing a good job squabbling. All right. Regarding what Sergeant Zizzo testified, did he write a report?
He did not write the report, Your Honor. But he obviously...
Here's the rule. I don't want any attorney in this case saying anything to the press while the case is going on. That's it. So you can call it a gag order.
We will advise, obviously, courts where we've said nothing. We will advise...
Mr. Lewin did something last week that was inappropriate. And the reason I'm raising it is because I don't want it to happen again. This week, Mr. Mayor's significant other may appear here. Last week, Mr. Lewin, as is his playbook apparently, from the lawyers, went up to my client's family and told my client's family that's not personal, but you know, they should really, hopefully he's really thought about taking a plea because he's facing a lot of jail time, and saying things that played on the emotions of the family. He should have no communication with the defendant's family. I've heard he's done that in every case. That's what I hear. Well, I don't want him, and I want the court to instruct him not to communicate with anyone on this side of the fence. Not the client's family, not the client's relatives, not the client's friends, because it's inappropriate.
So, Your Honor, so what happened was I walked up very kindly to the defendant's mother and sister, and I said the following. Listen, I'm very sorry that you're having to go through this. I have a kid myself. I have a sibling myself. I know it's not difficult.
There's nothing that prohibits what Mr. Lewin did. You've heard now that the defense does not want you to approach anyone from that side, so don't approach anyone from that side. It's as simple as that.
No, I said I didn't want to speak to them when they called me back.
Why was it that you didn't want to speak to the police officers?
Because I absolutely did not want to be involved.
Now, Relli did come get on the stand. Was not expecting that. I was thinking he might be on the stand tomorrow because Rihanna is supposed to be in the courtroom tomorrow. But he did get on the stand today. But they took so dog. This is the laziest courtroom I have ever seen. They did 3 witnesses, but they probably did about 4 hours of court today. They are the laziest courtroom I've ever seen. So they did not finish with direct. That's how lazy they was. They only had 3 people come up. Nobody was up there that long, and they still was on direct. Now, Relli got up and he just kind of talked about their past and how long they've known each other and things of that sort. So he did say that they've known each other for about 15 years. He states that as far as their ASAP mob group, that he was a manager, that he would source talent and manage talent and things of that sort. And that is kind of what he played as the part of that group. Not everybody was a rapper. Everybody kind of had different parts, but his part was that he was a manager. Now, they asked about his relationship with Rocky and just kind of to explain his relationship. And he's like, it's kind of hard to explain because Rocky be lying all the time. So he was like, Rocky lies all the time. That's kind of our relationship. That's how it's always been, is that I'm just used to dealing with him pretty much being a liar. Like, that's kind of the expectation that I have from him because he does it so much. That was kind of how he described their relationship and things of that sort. Now, he says that he heard Rocky having a conversation with someone else and that he was calling him a pussy, that Rocky was calling Relli a pussy, and that really made him upset. And that was kind of the verbiage that he was using to discuss and talk about him, is that he was referring to him as a pussy, and he didn't like that.
Well, I actually do know he had a problem with me because in the text message, he says that I got him cut, like I let him get cut. And that happened a year something. So that means you're holding on a grudge and something I ain't even had nothing to do with.
Okay, we'll get there. Hold on.
I feel like that was our whole relationship. Like just weird grudges. I don't know.
Okay. Are you saying that you felt like he had a problem with you, but you didn't have a problem with him?
Yeah, of course I didn't have a problem with him.
But you had sent him messages in the past where you had expressed, your disappointment. You already said that. Right?
I did.
So there
And I
was
think we have those text messages.
I'm trying to understand, if you can, what your state of mind is as you're going to this meeting with him, or as you said, to link up with him.
My state of mind?
Yes.
I was feeling real confident because, like I said, I don't think he read the room. I'm doing really good for myself. So I felt like this is a time for me and him to like actually come to common grounds and be like, fuck the bullshit. You know what I mean? Because what are we doing here? Like, you talk to everybody else like that. You're not talking to me like that. Nor am I accepting none of this. You know what I mean? I didn't see nobody. I heard Rocky though. I heard him say, "What now, pussy?" But it's been so long, so I don't. What now, pussy, or what now? Something along that. Like he was like, "What now?"
And what was his tone of voice?
Oh, he was loud. Like that's what caught my attention. And then I seen Elijah first, and then Jamel, and then that's when I'm walking. Like, cause I was continuing walking. I wasn't like stopping or waiting around anywhere. I was already walking. They was already there. So
Where?
I guess they was already on Argyle. Because they was calling me still. Elijah was calling me to see where I'm at.
Was it aggressive?
Yeah.
Okay, after that, hearing that, did you see him?
Yeah, truthfully, it was all like a movie. It was like literally
How
like
so?
a movie.
Explain that.
Just the way he was walking, the whole thing, like the hoodie, like it would just caught me off guard. You know what I mean? Like it was no time to talk, no time for nothing.
Right. What would it mean for your career if you got in a physical fight?
Oh, it would be over.
How so?
It would be over.
Can you
Literally
explain
over. You don't have a career.
that? Was that in your head?
I'm like part of a conglomerate, it's like a group. So if I fight Rocky and I beat him up, or if we fight or something, I'm already not liked, and people don't like me and shit like that. So if I'm fighting him, I'm definitely getting blackballed, and all the labels like him and work with him and do this. You know what I mean? Like I'm just trying to swither my way in. You know what I mean? So if that comes to like light that we fought or something like that, I'm pretty sure it won't go good. Like nobody would do business with me or other things like that. You know what I mean?
Okay. Have you had meetings with record labels before this incident?
Oh yeah.
And since this incident, have you continued to have meetings with record labels?
No, the moment the moment it became public, everything changed.
How so?
I mean, like everything changed. Like people knew it was me that pressed charges against Rocky. So everybody looked at me like I'm doing wrong for pressing charges.
Now, when he did go ahead and report the incident to the police and file his charges and file his civil suit, he is stating that he kind of received backlash. Like, pretty much he was not getting any, you know, opportunity to be in the management position, that the artist that he was working with did not really want to work with him anymore. He pretty much stated that since he put out, you know, that he was doing this, well, not that he put it out, but since he came out that he was, you know, pursuing this lawsuit and pursuing charges, people kind of looked at him differently, and they kind of started to back away from him. So he said that labels were not returning phone calls. He said that the artists and talent that he was working with did not want to work with him any longer. So it put him in a position that he was not in a place to financially take care of himself. And he felt right before this happened that he was at a good place, that he had kind of finally figured things out, and he was, you know, starting to get his coins together. And then after this incident, his money changed because everybody knew that he put out, you know, or everybody knew that he was in a position to be trying to press charges against Rocky, that he, you know, that there was a conflict, that their relationship was not good. Everybody knew that, and that changed his relationship with other people, which messed up his money. Now, they asked him what hand did Rocky have the weapon in when he pulled it out, and he couldn't answer that. And I found that kind of weird because even though this is the moment that is flashing before your eyes, in the midst of this moment, he is yelling at Rocky to use said weapon. How dare you have this weapon now? But you don't remember what hand he had it in, and you've known him for 15 years, so he would have this weapon in his dominant hand. Regardless, it was even if you say probably such and such, you should have known what hand he had that weapon in, because it's crucial. It's crucial that, because at the minimum you should have known what hand he wrote with. You should have known what was his dominant hand, and being able to be like, I don't know, I found that to be weird, especially because we know you're uncomfortable in the situation, but you are not fearful because you don't think he's going to use said weapon. And this is somebody you've known for 15 plus years. You should know what hand he would use said weapon in. He has to use it in his dominant hand. He's not even-handed. Ain't nobody said nothing about him being even-handed, so he would have had said weapon in his dominant hand, and you should have known what hand that was. And they also asked him, did he know Rocky to carry weapons all the time? And he said, no, I really don't know that he's been the type to do so, but I wouldn't know that he would, because he's always the type to have security around. So would you know that he did have that weapon with him? Who knows? Because if you are used to somebody having security around, that's normally how they rolling. If they a security person, they rolling with security options. Like, they don't want to have to deal with nothing. But my understanding is that this was the friends hanging out, so security not being there is very likely. Like, I'm just going to hang out with my boys. Like, you don't always need security. But if that is how you are used to somebody doing things with security, then you may not know what they do or don't do when security is not around. Now, he also states that he didn't think that Rocky would use the weapon because of their relationship and how long they've known each other. But he did mention that the people that walked by, he does think that that kind of helped calm the situation, because they were very, you know, loud, yelling at each other. And so the people that ended up walking by them as the incident was happening, he thinks that them walking by kind of made a distraction for the situation, and it kind of calmed them down a bit. And then that's when they actually walked away. So he does think that if they did not, you know, come by at that time, that the situation could have escalated higher than it did. So he is thankful that they walked by at the time that they did. So it kind of gave a debrief moment for them to kind of calm down a bit.
So as best you can remember it, he was the first one who grabbed you by the collar,
He grabbed me on my collar.
and then you raised which of your hands to
My left.
your left hand to separate from him.
Yeah.
Okay. And as he grabbed the collar of your sweatshirt, what did he do?
I think he just trying to tug at me and like talking and going back and forth.
It'll separate the two of you.
He put it back away, but I think from what I remember that day, those people that walked by, they kind of like stopped everything, because once he seen them, he kind of like, because I'm yelling, I'm literally yelling. And that was like feel like that was one of the ways that like I'm at the top of my lungs. You know what I mean? I'm making a scene. You know what I mean? So once he seen like those people walk by, he put it away, and that's when he started like kind of walking away. Because I'm thinking this is okay, if me and Rocky got a problem, it's a white flag situation. The other two should not be interacting. If anything, they're going to be de-escalating or breaking it up. So to my knowledge, I'm like, oh, hell no. So now I'm walking with them. And I'm literally screaming out at the top of my lungs, damn near, on how Rocky failed us and how Jamel went on tour with Rocky for about 8 or 9 years. And he's back in the projects. Not that it's his fault, but this is the type of things that occur. You know what I mean? You pull the blanket away and there's nothing there.
Now, this was a moment that I do think was quite funny because everybody in the courtroom laughed, even the judge. But the prosecutor was asking him how far away from him was Twelvyy, because Twelvyy had a weapon as well. He did not have the same type of weapon that Rocky did, but he did have a weapon. And he was like, this is a beef between me and Rocky. Like, why is you trying to get in, first of all? But he was like, how far away from you was he? And he was like, oh, he was a couple of skips away. And they were like, a couple of skips, sir? He was like, yeah, like a couple of skips away. He said that like that's normal talk for him. But they was like, what's a couple of skips? The judge asked, what's a couple of skips away? And he was like, a couple of skips away, you know. He said, no, we don't. We don't, sir. Not everybody skips away. Twelvyy, having the weapon that he did have on him, he was putting it away. He was frustrated. He was like, I wanted to punch him at that time. Like, why are you getting into our beef? Y'all knew me and him had this little situation. We had a little friction before we got here. But why do you have a weapon? Like, why is you about to... like you about to do something to me? Like, when did we start having beef? Kind of, he was in that kind of state of mind. Like, when did we start having a beef that you thought it was okay for you to pull out a weapon on me because he got a weapon pulled out? Like, wait a minute, so we ganging up on me now? So he was like, I was ready to punch him. And they was like, can you explain what a couple of skips mean, sir? He was like, oh, yeah, because that really wasn't the question. Nobody asked you about your emotions about Twelvyy having a weapon. They asked you how far away was Twelvyy. What was the distance? And then he was like, oh, well, it was like from here to there. That's what they asked you, sir. That's what they asked you.
How close to you was Twelvyy?
I wasn't, probably like about, if I was to skip, probably like 3 skips away, because after I said, what the fuck you got in 12, kind of like kind of walked a little faster to Rocky.
I've had a lot of people estimate using different things. I've never had anyone estimate with skips. How far do you think a skip is? Or
because that's what I was thinking, because I was physically thinking, I was thinking about punching 12. You know what I mean? Like, what do you got?
But how close was he? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
He was about 3 or 4 skips away.
What does skip mean? Like, how far is a skip?
You know what I mean?
No, no. How far is a
You
skip?
can point to something in the court.
Like, right here to the middle of where that line is at, like, not too,
Like here?
Approximately
yeah, a little bit
7
more,
feet
yeah,
from
like right there.
Okay.
about 7 to 8 feet.
Yeah,
All right.
a little further actually, because he's bending down, so I'm like, fuck, like, what the fuck am I gonna do right now?
Let me stop you though. The knife specifically. What did the knife look like?
I don't know. I just seen it quick. Everything happened quick.
That's what we got with today. We got those 3 people done. They are not done with direct on him, so they do still have more to go. He will be back on the stand tomorrow. He probably will be on the stand all day tomorrow because they're going to have to finish up with direct, then do cross-examination, and then probably do redirect again, cross-examination of him as well. We will see if they get all of that done tomorrow. He may go into the next day because they have no urgency in this courtroom. They are quite slow at the pace. They take long breaks, and they take their breaks on time, and they start late. They are starting tomorrow at 10 their time. I'm in Texas, so that will be 12 my time. If you are in New York, that'll be 11 your time.